Well, that looks pretty slick. Just wish I could have 2 more tanks so I could just put all 4 on right now. Sorry I didn't get any video of mocking this up, but it's Sunday morning and Retro Country USA was on, and on my list of priorities listening to Retro Country USA, Trump's making videos. So I listened to that while I got these done. I got my coulters, or my fertilizer coulters narrowed up because I didn't have time to do that yesterday. Got these tanks on to mock them up. This one's gonna stay, I think, because that planer that I looked at for parts that had the bad tanks on it does have good saddle brackets. I think I might at least go get the saddle brackets off and just put the brackets on. That way I could run all my hoses and stuff through, because they got the holes in the brackets to run all your hoses through. So I can at least have the brackets on there, get the hoses run through. That way, when I do find a new set of tanks, or another set of tanks, I can just flop them in the frames and everything's already there. And I don't got to cut hoses or move hoses or undo hoses. I just got to splice into the main trunk to tie all 4 together. And wham bam, you're done. But this one, that's where this one's gonna stay. I did mocked up on this wing because this wing's got a lot busier than the other one, because you got your shut off valve for the markers and your shuttle valve for the markers, and I guess that's really it. But the other side doesn't have all that. The other side's pretty open. Matter of fact, the other side is completely open. So, but I wanted to do that to make sure everything was gonna fit, and it will. It's actually gonna fit really nice. I think I'll actually take this one and scoot it down just a hair, just to get it more room here in the pivot section, because I got room. I might as well, if I can jump this U-bolt here in between this row unit and the transmission, and then I should have enough room to slide this guy over to match, and then that'll get me probably equally spaced between the tanks and between the trunk and the other side of the tank. The only issue I had was I had to move this hose because they had this hose looped up over top, and that wasn't gonna work. I'm gonna redo it, and when I redo it, I'll put it back up over the top, because you really don't want any hydraulic hoses hanging under the toolbar. That's a good way to catch them on something. But for now, there was enough. The hose was long enough. I could just undo it, loop it underneath the frame, and hook it back in, and we're good. And then these hoses are the ones for the marker arm. They're gonna get shortened up and just go back along the toolbar, so those will be gone. This guy is gonna get redone. Basically all 4 of these are going to get redone because they're all dry rotted and or too long. And then, ooh, oh, never mind. I was going to say that one's bubbling. Now the jacket's chipping off. It still needs redone, but, and then these 2, I got to turn the fittings and so that they come back sooner, because they're kind of hard into this bracket because of the way they got the adapters pointed, and yeah, but all in due time. Dad took a cordless impact with him on the trip, so we're down to the old air rattler that's pretty much gutless. That thing's older than I am. I was gonna bring my tools over and forgot, and I got here, it's like shit, so I don't feel like going back home, so we'll deal with that guy for today. But with all that being said, I think we've figured out how much this will tell us how much we can lob off the frame. Basically we just need enough room for the marker arm to lay back and not hit the tank, and the chain is kind of going to dictate that. Although I do think that chain can be shortened up. Because it should just be able to be like that, I think. But anyway, we'll leave some room. So let's just, for sake of argument, yeah. So we got about 22 inches. And there's damn near 3 foot. Well, from the edge of the... Okay, you sit there. From the edge of the... We got 30... About 33 and a half. And now let's just go. I looked in the book, and the book gives specs on toolbars for the 6000 series. And that toolbar is $295. Oop, too far. Um, 6180 forward fold, 8-row wide, toolbar width, $295. And 6100 pull type, frame for, I dare say, the closest would be the vertical fold frame, so 109 for the main frame, and then 69 for both wings, so 109 plus 69 plus 69, so 247. And what did I say, 295? 295. Oop, there was an asterisk next to that. What does the asterisk mean? 295. Two additional transport wheels required with fertilizer attachment. Pish posh. So we got 295 minus 247. It's 48 inches, so we could chop, if we chop 2 foot off of either side, that would make it match the width of, and where did I put my tape measure? That would make it match the width of an 8-row narrow vertical fold 6100. Because an 8-row narrow rigid frame 6100 is even shorter. Teeter, get back from the road. So where does 2 foot get us? I dare say that's doable, 2 foot right there. So, with that being the case, I think it's supposed to be calm today. What's the Weather Channel have to say? Da-dum-dum. Sunny. Yeah, Yeah, it's supposed to be fairly calm. So we'll give it a shot. So first things first, we'll pull the marker arm off. And go from there. All right, marker arm's off. Frame's marked out. Nothing to it but to do it. No turning back now. Damn, so close to making it all the way through. She closed up on me. There we go. Got through though. Now just gotta do the big tube, which should be interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna do this one from the back. That way I don't gotta reach. Must have been a shadow. Something on the corner of my eye looked like something just fell. Oh, that's why. Stay tight. Okay, now probably ought to get the forklift on it. Okay, I got the end plate off. Took the plasma, torched the nubbins off, and then I'm gonna take the mill and clean up the rest of the weld to avoid a bunch of grinding. I also noticed that when we put the marker arm back on, we're definitely bolting it in front of the 7x7 box, because apparently having it out in front of the 4x4 box, it put a little bit of a wow in the end plate. We're gonna have to straighten that out before we go to weld it back on. But we'll set you there and see. Hopefully you don't get too much vibration out of it. Damn, that would figure. Not gonna have enough table to do it from setup. All right, I got it all prepped to go back on. Ended up having to do a little bit of grinding because I couldn't get the Bridgeport to fit all the way back in where that box tube was, but for the most part, cleaned up pretty good. I got it all squared up. The only thing I got the level on there, because when I go to tack it, I got to push the bottom in. But I straightened it up the best I could. There's a couple wows in it underneath those two gussets that without cutting it all the way apart, you ain't gonna get it. I don't really want to cut it all the way apart and lose, because those two give you a locator because they got to hit the corners of that box. So kind of is what it is. I'm not too worried about it though, but like I say, we're gonna mount the marker arms here this time because it'll have a lot more strength from both twisting this way and this way. So today we're not fighting nearly as much of a breeze. Actually, we're not really fighting a breeze at all, so as long as everything is kosher. Sweet. Get the old portable welding bench out of the way here. Damn helmet does not like sunlight. Alrighty, she's all welded in. Pretty much all the welds look decent. I didn't really have too much of a breeze, and then that one right there, it bubbled up on me the first pass, so I ground it down and then did a second pass to try to fill it in, and then it bubbled up on the second pass. And at that point, I've already piled enough weld in there. The more you pile in, it ain't gonna do any good, but it looks worse than it is. But all the other ones are beautiful, so why that one decided to do that, I don't know. I had it cleaned up good, and it didn't really feel like a breeze, but wire welding outside, you have issues. So with that being said, I guess we'll go ahead and put the marker arm back on and see how we look. Now that's not too shabby. I mean, we lost. The frame was damn near out here to the edge of the concrete. So, not bad at all. Huh. That marker arm's cracked. I just noticed that. Like I say, these marker arms are going to be a chore in their own. That I don't know why, if they broke it or they added a section in there, but both of them have been, they're interesting. But if we can get them adjusted right to where we can plant with it for now, and then the marker arms can be a project for next spring. But I'm gonna go in and get me a snack real quick and get this side tackled. Y'all know the process by now, so I'll just get it done and we'll come back and make some new marker hoses, and then we should be able to get the T back on it and pull it out in the driveway and get our marker arms set as far as length goes, and figure out if we can have enough slack to adjust the trip chains and cut all the extra crap off so it's not hanging. this side's all done. It welded up a lot nicer. I only had one spot that got a booger in it. It was right there. But all in all, it wasn't too bad of a day to be wire welding outside. I think I got pretty lucky. They actually look fairly clean, so because those are kind of important to not break. And then over here, I started putting new hoses on. I got these two done. I had to go into AGCO parts book and actually figure out what hoses belonged on it, because they had 3/8 over here and 1/4 inch running down the other side. Well, as it turns out, according to the hydraulic diagram, you got 1/4 inch running to this side, and then in order to compensate for pressure drop over the length of the toolbar, you have 3/8 hoses coming off halfway, about half the distance, and then there's a union in the center, and then they run 1/4 the rest of the way to compensate for pressure drop over that long of a run. Well, they just have 1/4 inch hoses right now running all the way down the toolbar, so we're gonna have to change that and make it correct. That way the markers cycle the same speed both ways. What else? In order to get things kind of off the toolbar and clean stuff up a little bit, I figured the best spot, I put hose clamps here on the back of the brackets for the saddle tanks. And I'll put 2 more there and then on down the line. And then should be able to put another set here and here for the hoses running to this lift cylinder. The ones going to the main lift cylinders almost have to run down the toolbar because they got to go up inside this frame, but they ain't going. They're not going that far anyhow, so there ain't really no sense in clamping them. So I guess this week I'm gonna work on, because tomorrow's supposed to freaking snow, get my leaking cylinders rebuilt, at least the 2 that do leak. So this guy and that one, at least get those 2 done. I might do both wheel turn cylinders and both wing lift cylinders, just so they're done. The main lifts don't leak. Those are a little bit more of a chore to get out, so those will wait. But I'll at least take care of the 2 leakers, and then if I got time, I'll take care of the 2 that aren't leaking but have the potential because their mates leak. So I got that. I got the squeeze pump bracket to get that taken care of, which is really the last major project, is to get that bracket made. And then other than that, it's basically running new fertilizer hoses. I got 2 4-bank red ball monitors for the flow off the squeeze pump. So I gotta work those in somewhere. They're still in the box. I gotta pull them out of the box and see how what provision they gave for mounting them. It'd be nice to build it right into the bracket and mount them right in front of the squeeze pump and go into them and then come out of them to the coulters. I'm gonna go get the other 2 sets of saddle tank, or not saddle tank, fertilizer tank brackets, put on the other side. Then we'll move this tank down to the other wing. That way, like I say, those brackets, the center brackets will be there when I do find another set of tanks, and that'll give me something to weld my brackets to run my hydraulic hoses. And we'll run the fertilizer hoses through this hole in the frame to kind of keep everything neat and tied up out of the way. So it'll be nice, even though they're just not doing anything other than standing there. It'll be nice to have them brackets on there. And really, aside from that, the only other thing I got to do is get the thing on, or get the markers down and set my marker length. But Dad is about out of 3/8 hose, and he's been having trouble getting it because of the COVID supply chain issue. So he's supposed to have a spool coming this week, and then when I get that, I can make the other set of hoses going out to this marker, and then the markers will be done. And then after that, it's basically tidying up the frame, get the manifolds back on for the air. Seed boxes can go back on. I already put the new brushes in the meters, so they're ready to go. I've just left them off to keep them out of the way. So basically we're on the downhill slope. The hard part's done. I don't think that squeeze pump bracket's going to be anything. I think I could actually use the 2 pieces of tube. I'm pretty sure I've concocted a way in my head to use the 2 chunks of smaller 4x4 box that I cut off to make the brackets. So hopefully that works out. And yeah, other than that, it's just little nitpicky fixing hoses and tying things up and making it all neat and tidy and getting it ready to plant. And then once we get this all set up and get my main trunk run through for the fertilizer tanks, we got to figure out, so I want to make an end fill on both sides. That way you don't have to pull up to the nurse tank a certain way. And then once we get that on there, we can figure out what I need for hose on the nurse tank. Then we can finish the nurse tank up, which that's no big deal there. That's a couple hours worth of work tops. So yeah, we're on the downhill slide. So I guess with that, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Right, Teeter? You big stretch.